Assalamu alaikum, Mr. Islam answers back. Don't forget to like, follow, and learn. And remember, again, the notes that I'm using here in this video and all the others are available exclusively on my Patreon. So join my Patreon today and get exclusive access to these very notes that I'm using in this video and the others for your own personal study, or if you would like to study and use them in your own dialogues, debates, and discussions yourself. All right, now let's get to it. We're on the series now showing how the Bible fails its own test for being the Word of God. Again, according to Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 21 and 22, it says, how can we know the words that are not from God? We want to distinguish the Word of God and that is not from God. And it tells you the way to determine that is if a prophet, or in this matter, anyone, says that such and such will take place, and if that thing does not follow or come to pass, that is how you know that that is not from God. And the Bible fails this test as I have been showing. Here's the next one that shows it. We'll start at Matthew chapter 24. Really, it's this whole section of the chapter of Matthew 24, right? From verses 3 through 34, okay? So it's a whole section of things that demonstrate that this is a complete false prophecy. But let's take a look at it so we're clear on the context. If you start at verse 3, you'll see that it is the disciples themselves asking Jesus privately what will be the signs of his coming and the end of the age. Some translations say the end of the world, but I think the more proper translation is the end of the age or the time. Okay, but as you're clear, it is the disciples asking him privately. So that means they're asking him this for themselves. This is not for you future Christians and Christians of later future times, because they're asking him privately themselves. And look at his responses to prove that he's talking to them. Look at verse 6. Let's jump down to verse 6. It says, you will hear of rumors of war, etc. Verse 9, jump down to verse 9. You will be handed over and you will be hated. So he's clearly talking to them, the disciples, right? Look at verse 20 that further clarifies this. He says, pray that your flight not be in the winter or on the Sabbath, proving that he's not talking to future Christians, because you guys don't believe in the Sabbath at all, right? You Christians don't follow the Sabbath. You say you're not obligated to the Sabbath. That was for the Jews. So it's clear he's talking to his disciples right there, telling them when this happens, pray that your flight is not in the winter or on the Sabbath, showing that he feels that the Sabbath will still be an obligation to them. So clearly not talking to you future Christians. Are you getting the picture? Let's jump down to verse 25. He says, see, I have told you. He's talking to them right there. Look at verse 26. So if anyone tells you such and such and such and such, don't believe it, don't follow it. Again, very clear, right? Then he goes on to say, jump down to verse 29. He says, look, the sun will darken, the moon will stop its light, stars will fall from the sky, heavenly bodies will be shaken. Verse 33, when you, talking to them, when you see all these things, know that it is near at the door. And then verse 34, proving that this is a complete false prophecy, he says, this generation will not pass away until all these things have been fulfilled. Now, I know what the Christians are going to say. You're going to say, no, he was talking about the generation at the time of these events will not pass away. Wrong. He was talking to the people right there. Remember, it was the disciples asking him the question privately themselves. So everything he's saying it to them, that they will witness it. They will see these things. And the generation he's talking to is the generation right there of them, the disciples he's speaking to. So he says, and to prove this, look at the other translations to make it clear. It said, look at this one. When all will happen before the people now living have all died. So so your own translators are making it clear. He was talking to the people right there at that time. He's talking to the disciples and the generation of the disciples. As it says, all will happen before the people now living have all died. That's very clear. Look at this other translation. The people of this generation will still be alive when all this happens. Again, talking to the generation right there. Oh, but this one's the last one. I love this one, makes it the clearest of all. It says the present generation will not pass without all these things having first taken place. So as you can see, these translations make it clear that he was talking to the people at that time, the time that he's living in, The people that he's talking to right there. He's talking to the disciples and he's letting them know that his disciples right there, they will see all these things take place. And the generation that the disciples are living in will not pass away until all these things happen. It's clear. It's clear. It's clear. It's clear. This never happened. All those disciples are dead and we are still waiting, right? The Christians are still waiting for this to happen. It has never happened in the lifetime of these people. The sun is still shining. The moon still gives its light. The stars have not fallen from the sky. The heavenly bodies are not shaken. So it's clear none of this has happened. It's a false prophecy. And here, let me cut you guys off, because there are some Christians who believe that this took place in 70 AD. Some of them try to fix it by saying, oh yeah, it did happen in their generation. It happened in 70 AD. These people are known as preterists, these type of Christians. However, they're wrong as well, because in 70 AD, the sun did not stop shining. In 70 AD, the moon didn't stop giving its light. In 70 AD, the stars didn't fall from the sky. In 70 AD, the heavenly bodies were not shaken. The sun is still shining. The moon still gives its light. The stars have not fallen from the sky. So 70 AD is not the answer to this. Both scenarios, whether it's the 70 AD or whether those things were supposed to happen at the time and see these things, they never took place. It is a complete and utter false prophecy. No explanation will answer it. So don't tell me to come look at your damn stupid video that you made trying to respond to it. I'm already clear. None of your responses will refute this. This is an airtight, as the other ones were too. The other ones are airtight as well. So no, I'm not going to look at your video that you made that you think you responded to. You can't respond to it. It's clear. He was talking to the people and his disciples at that time, telling them that this generation that I'm talking to, as the translation said, this present generation, the people now living will not die until all these things happen. Unfortunately, all of those people are dead and gone. The disciples are dead and gone, and none of these things ever happened. It's a false prophecy. The Bible is not the word of God. Don't forget, guys, if you like the work that I do, go on ahead and support by just getting me a simple cup of coffee, guys. It helps. It goes a long way, and it lets me know that you appreciate the work that I'm doing. And I thank you in advance. May Allah reward you. Assalamu alaikum.